The premiere has been moved from Wednesday to Tuesday the 22nd, so one day earlier at 6 PM Pacific time, so the new release schedule is as follows. Episodes 1 and 2 on August the 22nd, Episode 3 on August 29th, Episode 4 September 5th, Episode 5 September 12th, Episode 6 September 19th, Episode 7 September the 26th, and finally the finale of the Ahsoka series Season 1, Episode 8 on October 3rd, instead of October 4th. Bear in mind if you're here in the UK, that is a very early start on Wednesday morning at around 2 AM. If you're on Pacific time, that is Tuesday evening at 6 PM, Eastern time it's 9 PM, and if you're in Europe, that is 3 AM on Wednesday mornings. Now they have done early releases before, but is this setting a new release standard at Disney+? There have been plenty of changes since it first launched in 2019. The main changes were typically how many episodes were released at once, and the day of the week the episodes came out. We've had Wednesdays and Fridays, but very rarely has it been the time of day that's changed. Even when Obi-Wan Kenobi's premiere changed time, the rest of the series was unaffected. In many ways, this new schedule is following the HBO model, which traditionally released its shows on Sundays at 6 PM Pacific time. So could this evening slot on Tuesdays, or maybe other days of the week for different shows, become a new standard for Disney+? Now, Ahsoka releasing early could be a very good sign. It could tell us that Disney and Lucasfilm are very confident about the success this show is going to have, and the quality of the series, a sentiment reflected by some of the early reviewers, which were generally very positive. I spoke about them in my video yesterday, so now there are just 3 days to go, instead of 4. So after this weekend, it's just Monday to go, and then on Tuesday afternoon if you're in the US, or Wednesday morning, very early morning at 2 AM if you're in Britain, then you're going to be watching the 2-episode premiere of Ahsoka. Really amazing stuff. In addition to this, we also got our first official clip. Hera Syndulla in the Phantom 2, Chopper's getting all panicky as they're being shot at, and Hera says, "Keep your lid on, Chop." It's over the familiar shipyard from the other trailers, and we have an extended sequence of Ahsoka fighting Marok. In other Ahsoka news, I want to talk a bit about Sabine Wren. I know I've made multiple videos on this subject, but I've got something new to add. Is Sabine Wren Force sensitive? A lot of fans say yes, there were signs in Star Wars Rebels, and Kanan says she just needs to get past her emotions, open herself up to the Force, and there is that possibility, whereas others say absolutely not, and I've even seen some fans say it's a betrayal of her character if they do go down this route, and fans in the latter camp really hope that the trailers are being deceiving, they're just trying to mislead us. Now leaks aside, and rumours aside, I don't know how they're going to address this. But for those fans who thought there were signs in Star Wars Rebels, I want to address one of them that few fans actually caught, and I saw this going around. Some fans who are rewatching Star Wars Rebels at the moment caught a very interesting Easter egg in Trials of the Darksaber, where Sabine is training with Ezra with sticks. If there's anyone who's good at putting Easter eggs in episodes, it's Dave Filoni. And oh boy, when the camera pans out, is there an important Easter egg that I think we should take seriously. 3 Convor owls are watching over Ezra, Kanan, and Sabine. Convor birds, also known as Convorese or Trandoshan birds, had a strong connection to the Force. They were native to planets like Atalon, which is the planet that this scene takes place on, Malachor, and Takodana, but despite just being wild birds, they were strongly associated with spiritual connections and manifestations of the Force. While these birds were native to the planet, I don't think it's a coincidence that Dave put in 3, watching over the 3 characters. I think this suggests all 3 were Force sensitive, not just Kanan and Ezra. Of course, we know about Morai, one of the most important symbols of the daughter and Ahsoka's journey. Dave Filoni named this species after his wife, and when he was asked about the bird's appearance in the episode The Mystery of Chopper Base of Star Wars Rebels, he responded with this: "There is a deeper meaning behind their presence. In some ways, I could say it's a messenger, it's an observer, and it's definitely something." But he left it open-ended. He wanted fans to debate this. But given Morai came to live action in Mando Season 2, there is a very good chance he shows up in the Ahsoka show as well, especially if Ahsoka the White is still in the cards. If this journey to find Thrawn and Ezra is going to have some Force symbolism, then that would make a lot of sense. But what about other Convors? Was this a hint early on that she does have the Force, that she is destined to be a Mandalorian Jedi? In Forces of Destiny, she protects the statue of the first ever Mandalorian Jedi Tar Vizsla, and fans have speculated for years that if she's part of House Vizsla, part of Clan Wren, then she may have descended from him. She too might have the Force. Is this something Dave Filoni had planned all along? And not just this, a Sabine Wren coloured Convor also appears on the Bendu. Not to mention some other hints of a Force sensitivity, like the way she can jump from great heights. This is not the first time I've seen this mentioned, but it could just be a result of the way Star Wars Rebels was animated. Now you might say that Sabine also had an owl on her armor, but this is to denote her lineage, part of the Night Owls and Death Watch. It's also believed to commemorate Ahsoka when she believed that Ahsoka had died. But with these Convorees, these Trandoshan birds, I think it's unmistakable. If Dave says they mean something, and he planned for Sabine to have the Force all along, then that is what is destined for her. Now I put out a post on Twitter talking about this, and I asked fans genuinely, how would you feel if it's all face value and it's not that we're being deceived, she does have the Force? How would you feel the first time she uses a Force push, a Force jump, or something like that? She's already wielding Ezra's blade, we already saw that in Rebels, she's being trained by Ahsoka, but what about a flat-out, black and white depiction of Sabine Wren using the Force? Now the consensus from those who replied seems to be either apathy if the story is good, or flat out just being really not happy with the idea. A lot of fans, myself included, might think we're being misled. But imagine if they do it. Dave Filoni literally said that there's an apprentice lineage from Obi-Wan to Anakin, Ahsoka and now Sabine, and it could have been a joint decision between Dave, Carrie Beck and those at Lucasfilm to make Sabine the next Jedi. They keep using the phrase, a new Jedi will rise. I thought at first this was in reference to Ahsoka refinding her Jedi path, but I'm starting to think it's either Sabine or Hera Syndulla, or all three. But Sabine at this point does look like a possibility, don't rule that out. And I want to speak to a very important thing to bear in mind with the Ahsoka series. This show, as a successor and spiritual sequel to Star Wars Rebels, which already was a show that was seen as a deviation from what we were used to in Star Wars in 2014, might include things we're not comfortable with at first, that we have to get used to, because that is what Star Wars Rebels did. As I put forward in the video breaking down how fan reactions have changed, when Rebels first came out, there was a lot of backlash to some of the new characters. Not just the animation style, but characters like Zeb and Sabine, fans saying it was too childish and not like the Clone Wars, but I think change sometimes is good. But I'll be honest, as a fandom we're not too good at dealing with change very well, and I can imagine if they do this with Ahsoka, whether it's Sabine Wren being Force sensitive, or Dave Filoni making other choices that don't sit well at first. I can foresee fans being divided as we always are, but just like with Rebels, if we give the story Dave wants to tell a chance, we might find that when we see the full picture, the full circle, we'll understand his vision better. Because if this show is a sequel to Star Wars Rebels, then that story wasn't really done yet, was it? In the epilogue in the finale, they're teasing a new chapter at the end of season 4, and this is it. Was it in the cards for Sabine to be Force sensitive all along? It's about how they execute it. If they do it right, I'm sure we're going to be far more comfortable than right now as we await the show and all we've seen are trailers and a few rumours. If the show wants to take risks, then I see that as being very consistent with other Dave Filoni productions. He's always added to the Star Wars lore, but simultaneously respecting George. And I know there are problems with retconning, we talked about this with Tales of the Jedi, with the Bad Batch Season 1, the Order 66 scene on Kalar, with Depa Billaba and Caleb Doom. So if Sabine is going to be Force sensitive, I'm more curious as to the journey that builds to that, rather than just the concept flat out on its face. These are stories after all, and the craft of writing a show is all about how the narrative unfolds, and that means as a fandom, we do have to give it a chance, take it at face value for what it is. It's natural with a show that promises cameos like Anakin that we're gonna have expectations, that we're attached to Star Wars Rebels and have been for 9 years, and we're gonna want to see certain things, certain characters, done a certain way. But I think we have to be a bit more open-minded than that. It's Dave's story and Dave's characters. And you know, when all is said and done, if it sucks and we don't like it, then we can criticize it then. But I think with all of these hints we're seeing in Star Wars Rebels when fans are doing rewatches, that's a big sign to me that maybe he had this planned all along. We just couldn't see it yet. And now it's all coming to fruition in what should be a fantastic Disney Plus show. Share your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and if you want more videos that you can't find here on YouTube, while also getting access to our Discord server and so much more, then click the link down there in the description. That'll take you over to my Patreon page. But until the next one, my dear Mandalorians, may the Force be with you, always.